All right, let's dive right into this explainer, and we're starting with a massive, high-stakes claim that really sets the stage for everything we're about to unpack. As far as we're concerned, we're prepared to set Iran back 40 years. Wow. This quote from Israel Katz, Israel's defense minister, pulls back the curtain on some incredibly intense disagreements happening right now between Washington and Jerusalem. It immediately begs the question, right? If Israel is actually prepared to take such drastic action, what exactly is holding them back?
Welcome in. Today we are exploring a seriously complex web of events. We're going to zoom out from imminent military strategies in the Middle East, all the way to the global AI race. We'll be relying on recent reports and direct statements from world leaders to piece together how foreign military action, diplomatic ultimatums, and even U.S. domestic policies are all deeply interconnected. It's a lot, but it all connects.
To keep this complex web structured, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover blocking the Iran strike, the Washington ultimatum, conflicting news on Turkey, Trump's domestic policy focus, and finally, the U.S.-China AI race. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Blocking the Iran strike, the highest stakes.
So the crucial point here is why exactly Washington slammed on the brakes. According to an interview Defense Minister Katz gave to Channel 14, the Israeli military was ready to hit Iran's energy infrastructure. But the United States stepped in and basically said, not right now. Why? Well, there's a severe concern over a resulting global oil crisis. The fear is that if Israel strikes Iranian energy targets, Iran could retaliate by attacking neighboring countries. That would instantly disrupt the global energy supply. It's a perfect example of how a targeted, regional military action carries immediate, massive economic implications for the entire globe.
Moving on to Section 2, the Washington Ultimatum, diplomatic backchannels.
According to a bombshell Channel 12 report in Israel, the path to Prime Minister Netanyahu's recent White House meeting was anything but smooth. In fact, he reportedly struggled to secure this face-to-face sit-down until Washington diplomatic channels sent this really stark, uncompromising message. If you believe you will arrive empty-handed, you will not be coming. I mean, talk about setting a boundary. It's a rare glimpse into the intense pressure being applied behind closed doors between these two close allies.
And this brilliantly illustrates a reported chain reaction. That stern ultimatum from Washington directly forced a major Israeli concession. Following discussions with the Trump administration, Netanyahu reportedly convened an abrupt emergency cabinet meeting on a Monday. And the result of that meeting? The approval of the entry of an international peacekeeping force into Gaza. What's especially notable about this development is that this concession was made despite Hamas still not having disarmed itself. It just shows you exactly how diplomatic leverage from Washington translates into tangible policy shifts on the ground.
In return, as he headed to Washington, Netanyahu noted his overarching goal was to ensure Israel's security. According to that same Channel 12 report, he and his officials plan to present what they claim is brand new intelligence to Donald Trump. This intelligence reportedly details Iran's military and nuclear activities. Now, while the exact details weren't provided to the media, the strategy here is pretty clear. Previous Israeli presentations regarding Iran's nuclear program have directly influenced U.S. policy decisions in the past, and Netanyahu is essentially attempting to replicate that success to sway the administration's stance.
All right, Section 3. Conflicting views on Turkey. Bilateral friction.
There's a highly unusual dynamic at play here regarding U.S. arms sales to Turkey. On one hand, Netanyahu strongly opposes the U.S. selling advanced F-35 fighter jets to Turkey. But Trump took a completely different stance during a press interaction on Air Force One. When pressed by reporters, Trump pointed out that while Turkey isn't exactly a big fan of Israel, they have been a tremendous ally for him. He praised Turkey's very powerful military and their actions in Syria, explicitly stating that nobody tells him what he should or shouldn't be selling. It's just a striking dynamic where overlapping alliances create totally divergent policy goals.
During that exact same press interaction, Trump really didn't hold back on his view of his own importance to Israel's survival. He asserted that Israel simply would not survive without his direct interventions against nuclear threats, specifically citing his decision to pull out of the previous administration's nuclear agreement. His exact words were, "Israel would have been terminated months ago and years ago if I didn't terminate the Obama horrible agreement."
Grounding his claims about effectively handling the region and dealing with the Iranian threat, Trump offered a very specific, striking metric. He stated that, because of the current pressures and conflicts, Iran is currently operating at only 8% of what they were just 4 months ago. Just 8%. He actually repeated this figure multiple times to emphasize his view that the threat has been significantly degraded under current conditions.
Which brings us to Section 4, Trump's domestic policy focus, the SAVE Act.
So, while still en route on Air Force One, the conversation completely shifted gears to U.S. domestic politics. When asked about the Senate and the SAVE Act, which is a piece of legislation he's adamant must be passed, Trump laid out a litany of claims regarding the Democratic Party's agenda. Just to neutrally inventory this rapid-fire political rhetoric, he stated Democrats will vote 100% against voter identification and proof of citizenship. He further claimed their platform is to raise taxes, allow men to play in women's sports, and create an open border policy designed to let criminals into the country.
Within that same stream of consciousness, Trump presented two highly contrasting claims. First, he criticized a broken border policy, claiming 25 million people were let in, with many of them being criminals. But literally in the exact same breath, he stated that the U.S. currently has the lowest crime and murder rate since 1900. It's a really striking juxtaposition, highlighting a purportedly disastrous border situation existing alongside historically low domestic crime rates, at least as he currently views it.
Finally, let's zoom all the way out. Section 5. The U.S.-China AI race, the global horizon.
The final question posed to Trump on that flight shifted the focus entirely to China. Reporters brought up that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is currently investigating whether Chinese artificial intelligence models are essentially stealing intellectual property by distilling from American AI models. Responding to these concerns about IP theft, Trump acknowledged that, yeah, both nations are closely watching each other. However, he expressed total confidence, stating that the U.S. is currently leading China substantially in AI, and they fully intend to keep it that way.
As we wrap up this explainer today, we've traveled from stalled airstrikes in Iran through tough diplomatic ultimatums, across bilateral friction over fighter jets, into domestic U.S. political battles, and finally landed on the frontier of artificial intelligence. It's a lot. So I want to leave you with this question to consider. If the U.S. maintains its AI dominance, how will this escalating technological Cold War ultimately impact the very geopolitical conflicts and military tensions we started our journey with today? Thank you so much for exploring this with me, and keep questioning the connections.